All right, good morning to all Super Metroid Randomizer enthusiasts. We got another banger match here in the Dash Mystery. I almost said Chozo for some reason. We'll see, it could be Chozo. The Dash Mystery Tournament, which, as you may have guessed, means we are shuffling between all the lovely random settings here on the Dash Randomizer, all the different item fills, the different map layouts, and even a couple little bonus settings that are, for the most part, exclusive to Dash. Got a match here between Vibrant Colors and Fat Scott, both experienced Super Metroid runners. Vibrant Colors more focused on Randomizer. I believe she was the winner of the first H2H tournament, a tournament using all of the hardest settings on the Varia Randomizer websites. Stuff like missing items, a lot of hard tricks and logic. So you definitely know that she knows how to play a silly seed, if that is what it comes to. Fat Scott, on the other hand, focuses a lot more on vanilla Super Metroid, having solid times across the board, but also has some solid randomizer finishes as well. And we are off. First thing you'll notice in the top right corner is that the number in the area they're in, that represents their current charge beam damage. Right now it's set to 20. That means that the runners both have some sort of starter charge beam, another feature initially implemented into Dash. Fat Scott going for the cool weave moonfall, even going back up for it. I respect the hustle. But yeah, with a starter charge beam, your initial charge damage will be 20, and so by seeing that number in the top right, you can easily recognize that you have the starter charge beam. Now, whether it's starter or starter plus, as in 1 charge upgrade to full, or 2, it's hard to say just yet. But we will see, and it looks like we are in major minor item fill. That means all of the majors and all of the minors are shuffled independently. You can tell because of the early space jump, and also the lack of a countdown in the top right corner, which would be the case in full rando. So the runners are just going to get their first few major items and their ammo. Just a missile here. We'll see if they get a power bomb at the alpha missile location to the left, which would let them check the door all the way to the left of this Retrobrin area to see if this is an area or a vanilla map seed. Since if it is an area seed, they will be able to go through and check that portal. But unfortunately, we are not going to be seeing any power bombs yet. So for now, we will be headed up to Bomb Torizo. Pretty standard opening, although it does mean we will have to spend a little bit longer to see whether or not there is area in this seed, or if it is a vanilla map seed. Now, the chances of it being an area seed are much higher. I believe it's 75-25. Should probably pull that up, as that would be something good to reference personally. You do see Fat Scott with the more vanilla Super Metroid experience having a slightly faster early game. Nothing major, of course, but a little bit better in the climb means that he gets to this item first, and it is vanilla bombs, so we will have a bomb Torizo fight. Fairly rare for a rando seed. So phatscott gonna do the pixel perfect setup for it. Unfortunately, it doesn't fire a missile. So if you have 5 missiles, you'll see Bombterizo do this cycle where he just throws the yellow projectiles. If you enter the fight with 5 missiles, which happens pretty common in Rando, if you end up fighting Bombterizo, what you actually want to do is fire a missile off pretty quickly. Otherwise, he'll do that pattern. Bombterizo will do that pattern instead of the more favorable pattern where he spits out eggs that drop missiles. So luckily for Vibrant Colors, she didn't get that pattern, so actually made up a little bit of the time. Looks like both runners also going to go save. I wonder if we see any full bomb gauntlet plays, which I don't think is very good, but it is technically possible, and like I mentioned, Vibrant Colors, at least, has a lot of experience doing very difficult randomizer settings, so she is definitely capable of it. And it looks like that's where we're going, at least for phatscott. Look at this. Both runners going straight to Gauntlet with those bombs. It is... One thing about this play is that neither runner has any supers or power bombs, and there are 2 minor checks at the back of Gauntlet, so I imagine that's what the runners have in mind. Just finding those 2 ammo is very important, since that is required to unlock several doors into other spots on the map. Both runners making it through. phatscott almost got caught in the acid. You see how fast his health drained, losing 30 energy in half a second. Oh no. Almost just as fast. Vibrant Colors unfortunately got grabbed by one of the yapping maws. You die very quickly with no energy and no suits in Gauntlet, which is why it's a little bit scary with just bombs, since you have to slowly break each individual layer. phatscott was able to make it through, and was rewarded with the spring ball, although this back section is one of the harder parts of getting through Gauntlet, especially with just bombs. We'll see if he's able to do this. He didn't lay the bomb, so has to do these really tight wall jumps here. Below the spikes, but above the acid, but is able to manage it. Well done by phatscott. And is rewarded with a super missile. That is one of the 2 special ammo that they were looking for. Worth noting that the ammo fills are also a mystery to the runners. Some seeds will use the 3-2-1 missile super and power bomb fill for more super missiles, essentially is what that means, I believe. And then some seeds will also use 2-1-1, which would have more missiles but less supers and power bombs. So the exact ratios of ammo available in the seed is a mystery, and it's kind of hard to tell which one is which, since both are fairly close to each other and can be affected by lower sample sizes. Vibrant Colors, meanwhile, took a lot of damage somewhere, but is making her way down. I think that bomb might be too low, but is able to recover. Meanwhile, phatscott, showing that this is an area seed, has made his way into Red Brinstar, I believe via the above Crade portal, and at the Crade portal itself found back of Lower Norfair, which, while not being able to be done just yet, is a nice portal to find, since being able to do Lower Norfair from the back and then out the back is pretty nice. The front of Lower Norfair is fairly slow, and generally not where you want to be if you don't have to. Also finding that high jump there at Spazer. I suspect we'll see Vibrant Colors reaching that same point shortly. Unfortunately, the death in Gauntlet cost her a little bit of time, but with the save at ship that both runners did before then, it means that she is not in too bad of a spot. Gonna take this little farm here in the Kago. They drop a lot of health, fortunately, so Vibrant Colors is able to get back to full. And there's this above grade portal. I don't know if we saw what was at the right towards G4. I assume phatscott checked it and just bailed on it. There's front of LN. Thank you, chat. So we actually know both LN portals, which is also very nice. We know that there isn't a one-way portal like Kraid or Turian at the front of LN, which would require a back-to-front LN trip, which is never fun. phatscott makes his way up to the top of Red Bryn. It is worth noting that if he doesn't find a power bomb to open that door that's sealed behind him when he entered this room, and also doesn't find a good portal to go, then he is stuck, but I believe he actually saved in the middle of Red Tower, using the save that was added for area rando specifically. So in the case that there's nothing good up here, phatscott will just reset and probably make his way over to the right side of Criteria, because that's basically all we have left. I'm not really sure what he's doing here. Unfortunately, you do need a power bomb to get this item. Yeah, I think phatscott realized that. See that middle of Red Tower, which we saw earlier from phatscott, but I missed, was Main Street. Could potentially be worth, with the save here in Red Tower, and another save added to the bottom of Main Street. There is technically a reasonable argument to go check the Meridian map portal, but neither runner are going to opt to do that yet. phatscott finding a place he wants to go, the top of Upper Norfair, with a couple nice little item checks, although doesn't have the health to do Ice Beam, but unfortunately entered the elevator with no super missiles, so it's actually going to have to go back down and farm. A little bit unfortunate, but fortunately there are some cack attacks right here, so he's able to get those and then head right back up. Oh my goodness. Vibrant Colors getting caught in one of the Vile Plumes actually got a big health drop from the farm bug that was in the Vile Plume with her, which was critical because she did drop below 20 health. A little bit scary, but fortunately gonna make it through. And phatscott on the other side of the Up North elevator is able to find Green Brinstar, which is where you pretty much always want to be in the early game of the Randomizer seed. There's a lot of easy item checks and a lot of minor item checks as well, so you're able to really fill up on ammo, fill up on your starter gear, whatever the seed decides for your experience today. phatscott also gonna check the Green Hill portal. We'll see what this is. And it is the back of Wrecked Ship, which is accessible with these items. I believe just high jump puts it in logic, but with Springwall and Space Jump as well, it's actually fairly easy to get across, if not a bit tedious. But of course we're going to be doing Green Brinstar first. phatscott already got his first E-Tank at 13 minutes into the seed. Seed's being a little bit mean on health, but as a result, as a trade-off, we do have a lot of movement items already. And Vibrant Colors, not too far behind. Did take a moment just to map out our game plan, maybe fill out our tracker. Unfortunately, we don't have an item tracker on the layout itself, but I will at least pretend that I know where everything is. So chat can correct me if I'm doing anything wrong. I actually saw phatscott do a fairly rare check in Major Minor, going all the way to Spore Spawn to try to find that first Power Bomb pack. Fortunately, did have the bombs, so was able to check the item from the back instead of going all the way through the Spore Spawn fight. And said bombs will also get him all the way to the left of this area to check the reserve tank. Unfortunately, won't be able to check the Edakun E-tank without power bombs, but there are a lot of ammo checks up here near the reserve, so good chance we see a power bomb here. There's our second E-tank. Vibrant Color is actually skipping that missile. I think with the starter charge, being a little bit more aggressive and skipping missiles is a better play, whereas obviously if you don't have a starter charge, then there's no guarantee you have a charge beam at all, and you generally want to be a little bit more thorough. Yeah, it looked like phatscott checked both of those ammo checks at the back of the reserve, and neither of them gave a power bomb. I believe they were both missiles. Let's see if there's one up here. There is not. So that actually means we're going to be isolating a lot of the checks here in this area. We aren't able to check the Edakun E-tank or the Wavegate E-tank because of no power bombs, and also aren't able to check Waterway because of no speed booster. So that would be power bomb locked as well. And so, with nothing but a couple E-tanks and a few more missiles in tow, phatscott gonna be making his way out of the area. Into the Crocomire entry. phatscott thought about actually going up to the business center area at the top of Upper Norfair from the bottom, taking a Croc Escape, which I actually think would have been pretty good, especially if there was a power bomb there at the Croc Escape miner. But unfortunately wasn't able to have the cleanest movement up the area, was a little bit concerned about his health, and so he's just going to take the safe route and go back to the bottom of Green Bryn to enter from that way. We'll see what Vibrant Colors decides to do. I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up doing the same thing. As she is potentially going into Bubble Mountain. This is an interesting play. I was gonna say, I like going right as well, because you could potentially make your way to the portal over at Lava Dive. But Vibrant Colors is not going to do that. Potentially going to try some of these Bubble Mountain checks on only 2 E-tanks. A little bit scary. She can make her way up to Bubble Mountain with the bombs. Obviously the power bombs prevents the faster route from being taken. as Fat Scott has made his way into Business Center. We'll be able to check this high jump. Wouldn't be sad to find an E-Tank here, as I believe that was a power bomb there at the Bubble Mountain minor location for Vibrant Colors. So that's a big find. We'll see what she decides to do with it. I wouldn't hate just head back to Green Bryn. Even the super of frustration as the seed being stingy with its last form of ammo. But yeah, Fat Scott finding that E-Tank there at high jump is actually pretty nice, since it allows him to check the Ice Beam location without doing a ton of farming, since that E-Tank will fill him up to full health. We'll see what we're able to find here. And as previously mentioned, we'll see where Vibrant Colors decides to go with these power bombs. I don't know if I said it already or not, but I wouldn't hate just going straight back to Green Bryn, checking 2 of the items that you weren't able to check earlier. Fortunately, just a reserve tank there at the Ice Beam location. Vibrant Colors getting caught in the lava for a little bit. She might be able to check this item, but if it's not E-Tank or Varia, it's Gravity. Now, there is a 25% chance. I haven't seen it yet. There's a 25% chance that Gravity has heat reduction. Unfortunately, we did not win the double coin flip this time. But that is one of the settings that is possible in these seeds. And unfortunately, or potentially fortunately, Vibrant Colors is going to have to go back for that, since abandoning the gravity suit is not something that she wants to do. Looks like just going to farm back up to full, question mark? Unfortunately, there's not a great way to farm in Bubble Mountain itself. The only farming spots are in heated areas. But there are plenty of little enemies to get some health on. Such as this Waver that's awkwardly flying away from her. Meanwhile, Fat Scott went down the Red Tower elevator and then decided to come back up to Green Bryn. Maybe a little bit of indecision, but I believe he is also going to be heading into Upper Norfair. Or, no, he's actually going to be headed to the wrecked ship. I mentioned this was in logic. And you don't need a power bomb to actually get to the boss area. I don't think you need a power bomb for anything in this area, actually. At least not with those vanilla bombs. Meanwhile, Vibrant Colors has healed up back to full. We'll make another attempt at grabbing that gravity suit. There we go. This time she has 170 energy instead of 12, so should be able to get out. It's still a little bit tricky. And she does want this extra power bomb, which is going to cost a little bit of health. But should still be fine. Maybe? Alright, gonna need to pick up that missile just to be safe. Unfortunately, Fat Scott is checking this item, which is not active until the wrecked ship boss has been defeated. And that was probably a good time to mention the one thing I don't think I mentioned in the intro. the last mystery setting of the morning, which is how the bosses will be filled. So there are 4 different possibilities. There's the vanilla boss possibility, of course. There's a possibility that the bosses are shuffled, which would mean that each boss is in a different location, and you would have to kill the boss that's normally in a location to open it up. So for example, if Scott found like a crate or dragon here, it would not open the ship. There's also boss shifted, which would do that. It would open, each boss would open the location it was found in. So if you found crate, it would open up the wrecked ship. The final one would be boss surprise, which acts the same as boss shifted, but it doesn't actually put all 4 bosses, or doesn't necessarily put all 4 bosses in the game. Instead, it's possibility that there's 2 or even 3 of one of the bosses in the game. And before you ask, yes, there have been multiple Ridleys and Seeds, so we've had some fun times. And speaking of Ridley, here he is. Also worth noting that the area phatscott was in when he entered Ridley was still wrecked ship. And so because of that, as long as he was paying attention, he knows that it is either boss shifted or boss surprise. Worth noting that the seeds have a 30% chance of rolling boss shifted and only a 10% of surprise, so more likely that we see shifted, but you can't really play like that. The worst part about finding a boss shifted seed is you kind of always have to play like it's surprise, because you could run into a second Ridley, which would not be a good time, depending on your loadout. phatscott makes his trip to the front of ship, finding the single chamber location. Doesn't want to take that with a little bit low health. Also, I didn't mention it, but was able to find a power bomb. I believe it was at the spooky missile location. So that's big for him. Meanwhile, Vibrant Colors. I did not see what portal was there at Lava Dive. But whatever it was, she did not want to take it. It was Turian. Okay. That's actually pretty big knowledge, but unfortunately, it did strand Vibrant Colors over in this area. Wasn't able to get the gate glitch fast enough, and so unfortunately, she perished. But was able to save after getting that gravity suit, so not the end of the world. Start of the seed has not been nice. Though with that gravity suit, Vibrant Colors can potentially do some of the West Meridia checks. We have seen Main Street already. I think that's the only Meridia area we've seen across East or West Meridia. Ooh, nice pause there to potentially make it. Actually paused at 0 health to give herself a little bit more time to pick up the drops, and was able to survive. Clutch play there by Vibrant Colors. Unfortunately, while she is able to check this item, she isn't actually able to get out unless it's an E-Tank or Varia suit. But with the save right behind, she is going to make the play. Finding a powerbomb there also could have potentially gotten her back through, since she would have been able to Crystal Flash, but does find an E-Tank. Meanwhile, phatscott, taking his powerbombs into Green Bryn, finds a Dash exclusive item, the Heat Shield, which will, for those who don't know, will prevent heat damage in all of Upper Norfair and will make you take half heat damage in Lower Norfair. So a nice find allows him to potentially go straight into Upper Norfair as soon as he checks this last item here at the Etakuni tank. He'll be able to make all the checks that Vibrant Colors is doing right now, but much quicker since he won't have to spend all the time farming that Vibrant Colors is doing. And the 50% Lower Norfair reduced damage could potentially incentivize a suitless, or at least a varialess, Lower Norfair without requiring a ton of E-tanks. And I don't know if it was by accident or on purpose, I may have looked away, but phatscott is actually checking the Etakuni Power Bomb after picking up the major item, which I believe was just an E-tank. Unfortunately, finding just a missile is not interested. One thing worth mentioning, if I'm not mistaken, I think that gravity heat reduction actually is on. The gravity suit is making Vibrant's health tick down a little bit slower. It provides 20% heat reduction. So apologies for any confusion there. It's possible that chat pointed it out and I just wasn't paying attention. So Vibrant Colors actually enters Wreck Ship from the other way, going to the single chamber portal. But yeah, you saw with that heat shield, phatscott is just perfectly safe in this area, able to do all of the checks that we just saw Vibrant Colors doing much quicker, as mentioned. We'll get his gravity suit, and I believe a couple E-tanks for his troubles. I didn't see if Vibrant Colors saved in Wreck Ship. Unfortunately, she is about to find a Ridley, which is going to be a little bit upsetting. That is the only boss we've seen across either runner, and it is not something they can do yet. And so yeah, we're just going to see the instant reset. And she did save, I'm told, which is good. We'll see where she decides to go from here. I wouldn't hate just going into the back of Wreck Ship and then doing the final two green Brinstar checks that we saw from Scott earlier, getting that heat shield and another tank. And it looks like that's where we're going. So Vibrant Colors will be headed there soon enough. phatscott, despite not needing to farm for health, is going to farm here just to get to full supers. I think he entered the room with like 2 or 3, if that. It gets 4 super drops there. Pretty sick. Although, it was after 3 straight no super drops. So maybe it was deserved. The game letting up after being a little bit mean. As Vibrant Colors has made her way through the back of ship, back to Green Brinstar. And is actually not going to be checking these items. Okay, yes she is. Maybe forgot about them for a second, but remembered she is in Greenbryn. She should probably do these checks. It is going to be rewarded with at least a heat shield. We'll see if she goes all the way to the Edikun E-Tank location. It is a bit of a trip. Bit of a trek, I suppose. Be a better way to put it. Maybe a little bit upset to see that heat shield after doing pretty much everything to do in Upper Norfair. Yeah, we see phatscott, who was a little bit behind positionally, not able to find those power bombs until much later. Has caught up quite a bit due to finding that heat shield and getting through Upper Norfair much quicker. We'll see exactly where phatscott is planning to go to. I don't think he meant to come here. And unfortunately doesn't have the power bombs to get out, so it's actually going to have to bomb each of these platforms. But yeah, we'll probably see phatscott back out into Red Tower. I would suspect. And assuming Vibrant Colors takes the Greenbryn elevator up and then goes Croc Escape, we're actually going to see the runners fairly close to each other. Well, phatscott doing one more check. He hasn't actually checked the portal at Lava Dive, so it's going to find his Turian, which, again, while not providing anything initially, is big knowledge to have. Especially since this Upper Norfair isn't actually the easiest to get back to. And so yeah, we're actually going to see the runners very close together. phatscott headed over to Croc Escape, Vibrant Colors making it there a bit faster thanks to the portal sending her right there. And just like that, after a pretty hectic early game from all sides, we are in a fairly even position. Although, actually, I don't think Vibrant Colors has done these top of Upper Norfair checks. That is where phatscott has the slight advantage, currently having a E-Tank in reserve above Vibrant Colors. I kind of forgot about those, honestly, so that actually means phatscott is a little bit ahead. But fortunately, with the heat shield, these checks are going to be pretty quick for Vibrant Colors, who is actually turning down an E-Tank. Probably see her turn down the reserve as well then. That's a little bit scary, but... does mean phatscott... or, well, that's not why, but phatscott is a little bit ahead. I would expect that he's headed to Meridia. We did see the Main Street portal in the middle of Red Tower, so there's a nice major check there. That's pretty easy with Space Jump. He's able to go to the Mama Turtle location. And then after that, there are 3 portals that could lead to fun areas. It looks like first phatscott's going to take a little bit of a detour, headed into this X-ray, which wasn't able to be checked earlier. Did have the space jump early, but no power bombs to actually open the door. Meant that we had to leave this for later. But we have made it to later, and phatscott is going to see what he finds. And it is a nice find indeed, the speed booster, which is actually very nice to find in this situation. Especially if he's about to start checking the portals in West Meridia. It is possible he finds an East Meridia, and that speed booster actually gets him through the Botwoon hallway to actually check the boss there. And since the chances of it being Ridley are very low, we would need the 1 in 4 to roll surprise instead of shifted, and the 1 in 4 to roll a second Ridley. He will likely be able to clear the area if he is able to find it. Looks like he's actually headed a different direction, though. Potentially headed back to Criteria to check the right side, I would imagine. Vibrant Colors, meanwhile, did not check X-Ray, but is going to check these areas here in... No, phatscott actually checking the tube, which another thing that wasn't able to be checked earlier. And it leads him into West Meridia, look at that. Meanwhile, Vibrant Colors checks the Meridia map and finds a moat that lets her check the other portal here on the right side of Criteria. I believe they have seen Retrobrin. At least Scott did. I think Vibrant Colors did as well. So I don't think she actually went there, though. Interesting. I was gonna say that would give full knowledge of all the Criteria portals. Mantantor chat, yes. The top of Red Tower does isolate all of Upper Norfair, all of Greenbrune, and all of Wreck Ship. And Turian. So they will have to be going back there eventually. Fortunately, they can most likely save that to the end, depending on what items are in Wreck Ship. It's possible that there's a... Well, no, it can't be a Varia there, because it's... The Ridley will awaken the Wreck Ship, and you need Ridley... You need Varia to put Ridley in Logic, so... Once they find the Varia, they can save that area till the end, kill Ridley at ship, and then head straight to Turian. Still looking for that Varia suit, though. We are going to see phatscott check this portal. I really don't think we saw Vibrant Colors check this. Kind of wild. And yeah, with that speed booster that we found earlier, phatscott is able to do this. Finds Aqueduct, is just going straight into East Meridia. Meanwhile, Vibrant Colors bailing on Croc. I didn't see if phatscott checked that, but if he did, he bailed on it too. I don't hate the decision to not check Croc here, especially with how much is still left to check, potentially. Obviously, I'm hoping Vibrant Colors goes to that X-Ray, since she doesn't know, but we know that it is Speed Booster, which would let her do what phatscott is doing and head into East Meridia. And there's the various suits. We still haven't seen a single beam, but we've seen nearly everything else. The only non-beam item we're missing is that screw attack. Meanwhile, phatscott has both suits, all the movement items. Potentially, the Seed could potentially have a double jump item, one of the other dash exclusive items. But phatscott is pretty much set on everything except for a good way to kill Ridley and Mother Brain. Can technically make it with the 20 damage pea shooter, but that might not be advisable. Oh my goodness. I spoke it into existence. It was boss surprise the whole time. And now we see the 20 damage pea shooter Ridley fight. And phatscott has to take this because he hasn't saved in a while. I think. I really don't know when the last time phatscott saved. Yeah, it has been a while. Oh no. Alright, the good news is he saved after getting the power bombs in Rex ship, and he knows where everything is. He can go get his heat shield. He can go back into Upper Norfair to get his gravity and maybe a couple tanks, and then go up to X-ray to get, or go down to X-ray to get a speed booster. This isn't the end of the world, even though he's losing a lot of progress. But it's pretty bad. Yeah, so to answer chat, the seed is a boss surprise seed, and phatscott ran into a second Ridley with no ammo or very little ammo, and just the 20 damage pea shooter, which would have been, I believe, a 600 shot fight, not counting the ammo. Unfortunately, didn't have this plasma beam here that Vibrant Colors was able to find. But as mentioned, Vibrant Colors does not have that speed booster. She did not go to X-ray to check it after leaving the cluster of areas up at the top of Red Tower. All the Upper Norfair and ship stuff that was up there. And I'm not entirely sure where she's headed to. Yeah, with no grappling, no ice. You cannot check Spring Ball. Actually, though, I don't know if Vibrant Colors knows this. Kraid actually has to be at the back of East Meridia, because we've seen everything else. Like, if I'm not mistaken, that is the last portal, is back of East to Kraid. It looks like what we may be doing... Okay, never mind. Vibrant Colors just gonna bail. I was wondering if she was gonna try Crystal Flash Clip or some other shenanigans to get across Batoon Hallway. But I believe Vibrant Colors has seen all the other portals, so... I actually would have liked going to the back of East to go fight Kraid. Not sure. I don't actually know if either runner is using a tracker or not. May have just been a misread, may have also just been... had other ideas. Other plans on where to go. And to be fair, Vibrant Colors is, I believe, backing out towards Red Tower, so good chance we see her do that X-ray check, and then probably head back into East Meridia. But first, it looks like we are... I was gonna say we're headed to Croc. Vibrant Colors is gonna do some ammo checks here. First, I may have picked up that power bomb, but... alas. We'll see how many of these energy tanks that phatscott lost he's going to want to pick up. I believe he went down to Edekun E-Tank to get that one. I imagine we don't see him check speed or wave. He does know where the Various suit is, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him go get that and then bail out of East Meridia. Again, I think phatscott has full map knowledge, assuming he's been tracking, so you could get that Various suit and then head down to the back of East Meridia to go to that Kraid location. But yeah, as chat mentions, it is very possible that we see a third Ridley at Kraid. Vibrant Colors still not fighting Croc. I would probably be doing that in this point. from her position. Just missing a way to get through Batoon hallway. But instead, she is going to head back up to Red Tower, potentially, after a bit of thought. Yeah, this is a rough seed. I do not blame the runners at all for being a little bit dizzy. Vibrant Colors apparently never checked Mama Turtle. We saw it from Scott. I guess we did not see it from her. Unfortunately, it is just an E-Tank. Although the refill is appreciated for sure. You did see it and grabbed the power bomb, huh? I wonder if Vibrant Colors is just planning on a lower Norfair play here. She has the heat shield. It will reduce lower Norfair damage by 50%. She does have a crystal flash. It's not the worst play. And it looks like that's the way she's headed. So, for better or for worse, we are headed into lower Norfair. Again, you see that the effectiveness of that heat shield. Vibrant Color is able to make it through the first part with only a couple tanks lost, even with a little bit of shambles at the end with those Alcoons. I believe Alcoons are the ones with legs and dragons are the ones in lava, but I could be wrong. Finds a nice little E-Tank here, also able to farm up power bombs on these fire fleas. Whoa, nice little D boost there. So Vibrant Colors is headed down to the Ridley boss. Will we see another Ridley? Hopefully not, for her sake. But it is technically on the cards. I would also be inclined to agree with chat that Scott is back in the lead positionally, as long as he, you know, goes back for that Variasuit, which I don't know why you wouldn't. I'm really hoping that the runners aren't losing sight of the crate at back of East. So that is potentially two major checks. And also a boss out of the way. Again, it could be another Ridley. Also hoping that Fat Scott goes down the left sandpit on his way to pick up this plasma beam that we see Vibrant Colors having. And using effectively on these metal pirates. Unfortunately, it doesn't do a lot of damage, so even with the X-ray, isn't able to one-shot. So she's just going to use supers on the other one. So we will see what boss is at store in Ridley's lair. It is not Ridley. Good news. There are bosses that aren't Ridley in this seed. Phantoon, not going to have an item behind him, which is a little bit unfortunate, actually. An E-Tank would be pretty huge here, preventing Vibrant Colors from needing to Crystal Flash on her way out, potentially. But it is a boss that can be comfortably done with this loadout, so that's a plus. Looks like Vibrant Colors just setting up for a comfortable 3-round Phantoon. You do need 19 missiles before you can super missile, since the super does 600. Phantoon has 2,500 health. The super does double damage, above, or twice as much as its usual 300. Actually, instead of finishing with a super, we're actually going to see her finish with an X-Ray. Nice, comfortable 3-round there. Also worth noting, you can't use a super missile initially, since that will enrage Phantoon, make him go through a slow flame cycle. That is a little bit difficult to farm, so it wouldn't be ideal for farming up health either, in case you were wondering. Oh, Vibrant Colors. Just damaging down to Crystal Flash. Kind of surprised she isn't doing it in the Phantoon room, but it's alright, she's okay. Unfortunately, not a lot of power bombs means, unless she comes back and farms this room again, isn't going to have a Crystal Flash. Until she gets all the way to the Fire Fleas if she wants to farm all those. Taking a lot of damage too. A little bit scary. Luckily gets a decent amount of health back from those metal pirates. phatscott, on the other hand, is saving here at the ship before headed back into East Meridia. Might potentially be checking this location up here at Criteria? No, okay. I thought he had charged up a Shine Spark. I was wondering if he was going to spark up to Criteria Powerbomb to just try and find more super missiles. I think Vibrant Colors might be losing health on these metal pirates, unfortunately. But does farm up to 10 supers, so as long as she makes it to Fire Fleas, she will be able to farm up and get a Crystal Flash. A little bit scary, but with the 50% heat reduction, she should be able to get there. Right? This is going to be very scary. She has the health to make it, as long as she doesn't get hit by a Key Hunter, but that's a pretty big if. And yeah, unfortunately, the one Key Hunter flew all the way down. Ruined her day. She did save before the boss, so it's not losing too much progress, but that is a pretty rough situation. Gonna have to go all the way back down and fight Phantoon again. Meanwhile, phatscott has made his way back to the Varia suit. And he does actually have 30 supers now. Was able to find another one at Aqueduct, I believe. So we might see him farm up to full supers here. At these little... the fish. I think these are Zoa. I don't remember, I don't remember enemy names very well. I can look it up though, fortunately. We have the power of the internet at our hands. Yeah, it is a Zoa. I was right. I think. Meridia bug. TM. It's a fish. Real wild anaconda fans know. It's just a fish, just like everything else in Meridia. So phatscott makes his way to the Ridley fight with much more ammo in tow. Vibrant Colors also a little bit healthier headed into this Phantoon, which is nice. Means she'll be able to delay her Crystal Flash for later, potentially, instead of just doing it straight in the pre-Ridley room. I didn't see how many super missiles hit for phatscott, but it looks like it was all of them. Ridley died very quickly. Now phatscott on his way. Just an E-tank here behind Ridley, unfortunately, so phatscott's still lacking in any kind of beam firepower. Yeah, Vibrant Colors at the point she was before, at the health she was before leaving Metal Pirates, but this time with enough ammo to Crystal Flash. This is going to be much more comfortable. We'll see where she decides to use the Crystal Flash. Might be able to make it all the way out this time, funny enough. Things are going much smoother for her on the second try. Yeah, does make it to the save. phatscott, on the other hand, looks like he's actually headed out. No, he's actually going down. Unfortunately, right after saving Vibrant Colors, he got hit by the Key Hunter immediately. It will do 100 damage with only one suit, so she got a little bit one shot. That is the danger of saving here. It does put the Key Hunter like right above you, which can be a bit frustrating to deal with. There's a nice little setup there that you saw from Vibrant Colors. And I think this was the Key Hunter that actually hit her that time. She actually has been manipulating the first one correctly, but unfortunately that last one has been a little bit mean. phatscott did find his plasma beam. It does give him at least a little bit of beam power. But unfortunately, okay, he's going back. phatscott looked at the map. He realized this has to be Kraid, so if he doesn't do this now, he has to go all the way back. Thank goodness. We're not gonna see too much miserable backtracking. This Vibrant Colors was able to make it through the Key Hunter shaft. Gets that Crystal Flash down. There should be plenty of health to get out of Lower Norfair. phatscott actually going to check Plasma, just hoping for more beams, really. Charge Beam would be huge here. Turning a 150 damage beam, which is respectable but not very comfortable, into something that he should be very okay with, doing about half the damage, actually exactly half the damage of a full beam combo. Vibrant Colors, meanwhile, figuring out where to go. Looks like she's headed back into West Meridia. We might be seeing a croc play since she still doesn't have a way out of... or through Botmoon Hallway. And unfortunately, she is not headed to that X-ray location. Instead, it looks like she's headed back to Criteria. And with the health farm she was doing earlier, we might be seeing a front of lower Norfair play, actually. Just to check screw attack. Okay. I was gonna say, that would be a little bit miserable, but... cooler heads are prevailing. We aren't gonna do anything too silly. phatscott, meanwhile, finding his Kraid's lair. We'll see what boss is here. It could be any of them, as we've seen already. It is a boss surprise seed, if you're just joining us, so... the Ridley the phatscott fought was not the only Ridley in the seed. There are at least 2 of them, potentially a 3rd here. And unfortunately for Scott, he has to play like there is a 3rd. So he's going to be taking the save. We're probably going to see him farm mini crate a few times to get supers. All around, a bit of a rough time. As it looks like we're seeing Vibrant Colors just head straight into this area. Again, I mentioned it at the very start, Vibrant Colors is experienced with more difficult random settings. I fully believe she's capable of doing Crystal Flash Clip. Actually going to take damage from the snails down here, which is interesting. I guess it does a flat 1 E-Tank per hit, which is nice and easy to measure. With the gravity suit, she'll take another 50, and that is exactly the health you want to be to Crystal Flash. Alright, phatscott has farmed mini crate a few times, as mentioned, got up to over 30 supers. And we see the second Phantoon. So that is our final boss layout. There are 2 Phantoons, and there are 2 Ridleys. Fortunately, with the 2 Phantoons, meaning one less boss than usual has a boss reward. Oh no, Carbon Color just died. Got hit by a snail, unfortunately. She did just save though, so it's okay. But as mentioned, since there's 1 less boss reward than usual, and there is the heat shield, I believe that means there are a few less reserve tanks than normal, which would explain why we've only seen 1. And yes, phatscott does have various heat. Nice little snail climb setup over on the left, instead of waiting for the snail to head all the way to the speed blocks. Unfortunately, the snail being mean killed Vibrant Colors twice. It is out for blood. And there is our first charge upgrade. Only an hour and 8 minutes into the seed. Actually, that's the full charge upgrade. Look at that. So, Fat Scott. It's got a nice, comfortable beam. I assume... Oh wait, I'm dumb. That's just a major item. I was like, why is there a minor? Why was charge a minor location? But that is not a minor location. As it turns out, Vibrant Color is going to carefully jump over that snail. Not gonna be a victim anymore. As Fat Scott, now with a fairly comfortable beam, both suits, all the movement items, he is going to be headed down to Lower Norfair. And meanwhile, we are setting up for the Crystal Flash clip here. Fortunately, with bombs, it's fairly comfortable. Comfortable being relative, it's still a very precise trick. There's a setup for it. The setup I was told was to lay the bomb as soon as the power bomb explosion was about the size of your morph ball. I don't know exactly how accurate that is, but that's the setup that's always worked for me, at least. Anecdotally. Which, if that's the case, I think Vibrant Colors is laying the power bomb a little bit late, or laying the second bomb, rather, to boost up into where the power bomb explosion started, to get that Crystal Flash. Unfortunately, is going to have to try it again. But she did save after getting those power bombs up in the aqueduct. So she has another 9 attempts at it right away. Yeah, I'm also not 100% sure. I assume this is what chat was talking about. I'm not 100% sure about Fat Scott headed through Cack Alley to get to Aqueduct instead of going down the tube. Since the there is an area change where the left side of the sewers links straight into the below Batoon E-Tank room. So you're able to go down the tube and just head all the way left, and that'll lead you straight to Aqueduct. I'm not totally sure if going Cack Alley is faster. I'm pretty sure it's not. That is the route that Fat Scott decided to do. It's not a huge difference either way. And Fat Scott is making his way through Lower Norfair. And as been the story so far, Fat Scott finding Heat Shield before doing Upper Norfair and Varia before doing Lower Norfair, he's going to have a much more comfortable time, not needing to worry about his health as much as Vibrant Colors did in both cases. Vibrant Colors, meanwhile, looks like she's giving up on the CF clip for now. We'll see what's down here in store. Another power bomb. I may have been inclined to pick it up, I will not lie to you. It looks like Vibrant Colors is making her way up to Kraid. Funny enough, she's actually going to find the Phantoon, and that's how she finds out that it's Boss Surprise, because she hasn't seen the second Ridley at Dragon, so has only seen a Ridley and a Phantoon. Funny enough. phatscott, meanwhile, going to be happy not to see a third Ridley. But yeah, after this, phatscott will need to find his way back into Red Tower, which is just back of Lower Norfair, so will be nice. Then he just needs to climb all the way up Lower Norfair, pick his way into ship. I would probably suggest going to single chamber, but we'll see what he decides to do. And then head to Turian. So it's quite a trek, but at least everything left in the game is in a very contained area for phatscott. He's gotta start walking. Actually not seeing Vibrant Colors take that health refill. I would imagine she's not even thinking about the boss surprise, but surprise! Another Phantoon. Fortunately, we've already seen her dispatch one Phantoon fairly comfortably. Twice, in fact, since took the unfortunate death on the way out the first time. So she's setting up for a nice 2-round here, getting a lot of damage done the first round with that X-ray plasma. Of course, only with a starter charge, so takes a while to do damage, but fortunately does enough that she's able to finish it off with just 4 missiles and a super. Nicely done. Also worth noting, assuming she checks the item, which I would be surprised if she didn't, she will get that full charge upgrade, so we'll have the same beam as phatscott does at the moment. Gonna be skipping those super missiles though, which is a little bit strange. Phatscott has made his way out of Lower Norfair. Now needs to head all the way up Red Tower. Did I mention this was a bit of a trek for phatscott, because he has got a ways to go. Unfortunately, it's going to be about just as bad for Vibrant Colors. Once she makes it there. I would imagine we're probably just going straight back to Botwoon, make some more attempts at that CF clip. Unfortunately, for anyone who missed it, Speed Booster was at X-Ray. We have not seen an X-Ray check from Vibrant Colors. Weren't able to do it initially since Power Bombs showed up in the seed pretty late. And unfortunately, she has just never made it back to that check. phatscott enters Upper Norfair, takes a moment to plan out his route. And with that speed booster is going to be headed through this Frog Speedway over to Bulba Mountains, and then head over to Single Chamber to the front of Rex Ship, kill Ridley, head out, then go down towards Lava Dive to get to Turian, and finish the game. We're nearing the end, folks. I can't believe that power bomb didn't break the block. That looked like it should have. We are back in Aqueduct for Vibrant Colors. We'll see if she wants to go attempt the Crystal Flash clip a few more times, and it looks like that's what she's headed over to do with the save. Does need to make sure not to pick up a big health. It's actually just going to avoid both of the enemies to not worry about that. There's a power bomb up there. Unfortunately, maybe a little bit too far away to get. There it is. Crystal Flash clip has been done. Vibrant Colors headed over to her second Ridley. And she does know it's boss surprise, so hopefully she does farm for it, but if she doesn't, she does have plenty of beam damage, so won't be too uncomfortable. Actually gonna skip that Varia suit, or not. Maybe styled a little bit too hard trying to dunk on the Varia. Actually, that's really bad, huh? Because she actually has to clip back in. Yeah. Well, phatscott has finished off his last boss. Is on his way to Turian. Fortunately, does have the required 15 power bombs to get through the Metroids guaranteed without Ice Beam. Of course, even if he had 10, he could theoretically just do the first room and then reset, since that elevator will be a full refill every time you take it. See a nice Crystal Flash clip for the second time for Vibrant Colors. Hopefully the last time. The bot wound taken down with that X-ray again. And no shenanigans this time. We're just going to pick up the Varia suit and head on through. Vibrant Colors. Not going to make the same mistake twice. To answer chat though, it is possible to avoid that Varia suit by going a little bit into the sand, but as we saw, going a little bit into the sand is not always what ends up happening. Here's our second Ridley for Vibrant Colors. Fortunately, with this nice beam combo, it is only 40 shots, so fairly comfortable as far as Ridleys go. 7 tanks, both suits, and 40 charge shots. Definitely better than the about 400 that phatscott would have been required to, that he decided to reset out of. Meanwhile, Fat Scott making his way through the Metroid rooms with just power bombs. Taking plenty of damage, but without a great beam to actually break through the foliage at the baby Metroid room. We might just see him opt to not go for a baby skip. And either way, probably going to take the refill afterwards. Well, he is set up for it. Alright, yeah, he's just gonna... He ended up damaging down a little bit, just jumped all the way to the left as far as he could, just to die as far left in the room. Or not die, but get sent to 1. And now, here he goes. Vibrant Colors also probably going to be very happy to be getting out of this area. Was able to make it through Lower Norfair without Varia and through East Meridia without speed or ice, which is definitely commendable. But unfortunately, Fat Scott able to find that speed and able to find that Varia before entering Lower Norfair. It's definitely put him pretty significantly in the lead as he is going for this speed Zeb skip. There we go. Just needs to jump on through. And I would also encourage chat to watch the entirety of this match. It has been a mean seed, but definitely a fun one to watch. I think we had first E-Tank at like 20 minutes, first Powerbomb at 30. First boss killed at like an hour, I think. Might have been later than that. We've had plenty of deaths, plenty of resets. It may not be the run that the two runners would want you to watch back, but has certainly been entertaining. Of course, you can follow these two excellent runners. I don't know if the command is working. It is. Nice. Be sure to follow them. There is still plenty of tournament left to go. They are both losing the first round of Swiss, but there are, I believe, 5 more rounds. I definitely know the rules of the tournament that I'm participating in. Trust me, I'm not making things up as I go. Alright, there are 6 rounds. And yeah, we have seen plenty of rando tech on display from Vibrant Colors, plenty of solid movement from Fat Scott. So both will still be strong opponents in the second round of Swiss. Fat Scott actually setting up for a stand-up glitch. Does have the X-ray in case things go wrong. Just needs to make sure the baby doesn't get frozen in a weird spot. But with enough energy, that shouldn't be a problem. It's mainly an issue if you don't have a lot of E-Tanks. And yeah, we're going to see Fat Scott back up right away, just to make sure. safe stand up from phatscott. Didn't have the full beam combo, so wasn't able to do a ton of damage, but saved about 15 shots, it looked like. A little bit of time save. He is headed into the escape. Funny enough, I don't think this is the slowest round 1 race of the tournament. Or slowest win, I should say, for phatscott, as long as he makes it all the way through escape. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that belongs to none other than myself at like a 133. So phatscott can rest easy knowing that this still is not the worst seed of round 1. But there he is, making it into the ship. phatscott is finishing with an official race time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 54 seconds. The comment, that was terrible, GG. I would tend to agree. Unfortunately, we are going to see the forfeit from Vibrant Colors. Was able to finish off her last boss before the end, at least. But I definitely don't blame her for not wanting to finish that out. And we are joined by the winner, phatscott. GG's. You made it.
GG. That was a interesting seed, I guess.
I think interesting is a good way to put it. So I guess just run us through your basic thoughts after finishing that one out.
Well, the early game was like, I didn't really have any problems with the early game. I think I was kind of on a goose chase for the first power bonds for a while, and I had a feeling that I probably missed one in like 230 or something along those lines. And I probably should have gone back to check, because chances are there probably was a power bomb somewhere in criteria that would have made me not get stuck at the top of Red Tower and get stuck running around for a while. It wasn't my smartest plan, but it sort of worked out in the end, because I did find power bonds, and then I was able to kind of backtrack backwards. But I knew I had lost a lot of time doing that, so I just kind of started to try to retrace my stats on Brinstar and Norfair and see what majors I could find. I found heat shielding, so I went back to Norfair. After I went back to Norfair, I found gravity fairly quickly. And then I kind of looped back around until I found Meridia. I found Varia there, and then I died to Ridley for the first time. Well, I didn't die to him, but I knew that going in with like 7 supers and like 20 missiles with no power, or like no charge beam and no other beam, was not a fight I was gonna want to take right now. So I just reset. It kind of sucked.
Yeah, and we are also joined by Vibrant Colors. GG's.
GG's. Hello there.
GG.
Yeah. I guess the same question to you. How are you feeling after that one? Although I think I may know the answer already.
Well, my head hurts. It already did before, not because of the seed, but the seed did not help, I have to say. How did this race take so long? I am very confused.
If you
I
want to,
feel like I was playing terribly. That seed had to be done in 50 minutes.
I think it probably.
What held you?
I think it could have been done in 50 minutes, like 50 minutes to an hour, if you. Like, what happened to me is I got stuck looking around for power bonds for like 10 plus minutes. And then I also like reset after I went into Ridley with like no ammo to kill him. And the first Ridley in Meridia. And then I I probably lost like 20 minutes total doing that. I probably would have finished a lot earlier if had I not made that big mistake.
Well, I also made a big mistake of being angry at Varia and shooting it and falling right back down the same pit. I forgot about X-ray, so I did not speed. So I went to Crystal Flash Clip. I did it twice. That was... Everything was terrible.
Yeah, finding the speed booster was definitely a big moment for Fat Scott. Was able to pretty comfortably pull ahead after that, I would say. I guess what were your
There's
thoughts
one
when you
thing-
found it, Scott?
One thing I'm thinking about is, if you have two Phantoms, where is the Major that normally is behind, like, Crave? This is just gone.
So, if I'm not mistaken, there's just one less reserve tank in the pool.
Yeah, I think
But-
I
you can
see. Okay.
add or subtract ones, depending on what the bosses are. I know that there were like 2 Ridleys, so there were like 2 Ridley E tanks, but then there were 2 Phantoons, so there wasn't like a crate or Dragon drop like there normally would be. So it was a little weird, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess with the heat shield as well. I think that was the only bonus item. I don't think there was a double jump, but there are actually 2 less reserve tanks, which I think y'all only found one of them, so that checks
Yeah.
out.
I think there was only 1 charge available as well. I don't know if there were 4 in this one or not. I wasn't.
Yeah, well, you found the 1 charge upgrade and got to full, so there was only
Yeah.
1.
I have charge and 450 damage, so yeah, it is full charge.
No idea where the beams were. I forgot to check, but
Probably in rocket ship, I would guess.
Oh,
Apparently, ours was a croc.
Oh yeah, probably. I found like a lot of e-tanks. There were so many e-tanks. I was starting to get sick of it. I didn't need them. I was just hoping I'd buy something else. But oh well.
In the early game in Norfair, I was there like I can probably get Norfair reserve with 2 E-tanks, and there's gonna be an E-tank, and I'm gonna do speed. And then I find gravity, and I'm there like, huh, that's bad. I don't know how to get out with this. I actually did it. It was easier than I thought because of the heat reduction, but that is where I started to lose my mind. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I'm not able to think straight, and it's very frustrating. You see what I mean? Something happened.
It happens. It happens. Fortunately, tournament is not over for either of y'all. That was just round 1. So I guess, what are y'all
It is swift.
thinking about going into the round 2 match next week?
I'm thinking, well, I don't know. I'm like all over the place when it comes to Mystery Rando right now. I don't know how well I'm gonna do in some of these. I feel like I have a pretty good handle on like area rando seeds and like full countdown seeds, but I'm not as great with major minor right now, so I'll probably just need to keep playing and we'll see what happens. I'm like, I could see myself doing better in the next few matches for sure. This is a lot of like kind of getting into it because I've been playing a lot of map rando and not as much mystery rando, so we'll see, I guess.
And same question to Vibrant Colors.
Well, I'm not really sure what to think. It's probably gonna be better next week, that's for sure. As for Mystery Rando, I love Mystery Rando. When I play Raya Rando or Link to the Past Rando, I always run Mystery Seeds. So, Mystery Dash? Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Let's
I
go.
definitely
It's
think
fun.
I definitely think it's like an interesting mystery in general is pretty interesting to me. I like how you have to kind of figure out what the seed's expecting from you, like by just kind of piecing together all the different aspects. Like is this Chozo? Is this major minor? Is this going to be area rando? Or like you kind of figure it out as you go. I think it's pretty neat.
Definitely a lot of fun potential for sure. Unfortunately, we got a bit of the worst of it in this one, but I believe that is going to do it for us. Do either of y'all have any final words to say before we head out?
I guess just thanks for commentating. I didn't know we were getting a restream, so thank you for that. And hopefully this was not a bad seat for the people watching to look at, and hopefully it was I hope it was a fun time for you too, Colors. I know your seat was pretty rough, so.
We played the same seed. You don't need to see my seed was pretty rough. It was the same.
Well, what I mean is like I hope that it in the end you still had fun, even if things didn't go as you hoped.
Yeah, I did have fun actually.
Well,
When you're not gonna see what I'm talking about, but Derp is gonna see. When I was preparing for the Crystal Flash clip, and I just kept dying to that dumb snail right there, that I jumped above it and everything. I was laughing at that point because I don't know, it was just comedic. And it's at that point I realized that even though I was certain I was really far behind, that I had lost already, I was having fun. And that actually, I think I started playing better after that, after realizing that despite everything, I still had fun. It's pretty important, turns out. So yeah, make sure to have fun.
make
I hope you had
sure
fun
to
too,
have
and it was fun
fun
to watch,
indeed.
to comment,
I had a good
fun to
time, at
track, to
least.
click buttons.
Yep, shout outs to Iker on tracking. Also, a bit last minute, I believe. I think we both signed up last night. But, as mentioned, that is going to do it for us. Got a few more races coming up later, including one that I believe is going on right now on SG2, Break Jake versus Freddy, and a few other sorted races throughout the day, and plenty more across the weekend. So be sure to check it out. All going to be happening on SpeedGaming. But for us here, we will see you next mission.